alaikum.
Assalamualaikum ma'am and walaikum assalam. Alhamdulillah.
This is the second class for communication skills for business. And in the last class, we did the holistic approach for what the LO1 is going to be about. And we also did, we did LAC assessment criteria 1.3 and merit part today in the class. So let's start with it. Um, Secondly, that's a general subject, so nothing to worry. First of all, let's read the definition, then I'll go to the main lecture that what internal communication is. Internal communication is within the premises of the organization and it is a multifaceted process. This means it is used not only like for the purpose of two people communication, it is going to be for the whole department, whether it is customers, suppliers, stakeholders, with so many people. In internal communication, we basically exchange information, ideas, and what our thoughts are among the groups, individuals, employees, teams, and so on. Now, we have to start with ACA, that is Assessment Criteria 1.3. Analyze barriers to effective communication within an organization. Here, again, the command verb is analyze. You have to focus on that. Other than this, what the question is asking, it is asking us about the barriers, that is, disadvantages, hurdles, obstacles, which are hindering the process of effective communication. Analyze means break the subject or complex situations into separate parts and examine each part in detail. Identify the main issues and show how the main ideas are related to practice and why they are important. Reference to current research or theory may support the analysis. So, this is the whole meaning of the word analyze. Now, barriers to effective communication are the obstacles, hurdles that hinder the successful exchange of information, ideas, or feelings between individuals. Very simple. These are the hurdles, these are the obstacles, these are um, like what do we call barrage. Whenever we want to perform effective communication, only then we can achieve the strategic ideas and objectives of the organization. So that is why the researchers and the head of directors always emphasize on smooth communication. Now, there are different kinds of barriers to communication. These are an extra one. These are not in your course, nor even in the indicative content, but it is for your own knowledge. The first one is the language difference. We speak Urdu, we speak English, many people speak Arabic, Italian,
Bengali.
Bengali, yes. Then we have so many German, French, there are so many. See,
Okay.
Okay.
we discussed that what are the differences of the languages as well. Many people speak different languages. So when we are working in an organization, there are groups of people working in one organization under one roof. So this is a barrier. Maybe you cannot understand Chinese and I can understand Chinese. So for me, it's a plus point, but for you, it's not going to be a plus point. So it's a barrier. We cannot talk properly. Then we have cultural differences. Again, the same thing. You are from different background, I am from different background. My ethnicity is a different, your ethnicity is different. Rosanna is born and brought up in Saudi Arabia. We are born and brought up in Pakistan. So the differences in our, even the dressing is going to be different. Our thoughts won't be equal at all. We are going to be thinking differently. Then lack of clarity. What this means is we are not clear. You're trying to prove your point, but you're not able to get it. Maybe you are not having enough ground for it. Maybe,
It's only
yeah. The last thing is the physical barriers. What it means, uh, environmental factors such as noise, poor lighting, physical.
Ma'am, we were ma'am.
Yeah.
the lack of
Ma'am,
clarity, ma'am.
ma'am, you're actually going cultural differences actually you're going, not physical barriers. We were going actually second point, cultural differences.
We were on lack of clarity. Even Amna told me this, right?
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah, we were doing lack of clarity. No
No, I
problem.
didn't hear at all from lack of clarity. That time only you were explaining the cultural differences.
Cultures and different countries.
Hmm.
Okay, no
Okay.
problem. We can do this again. Not an issue. You are clear with the language and culture, right? Now, lack of clarity. This is what we are facing at the moment. I am saying that we're doing physical barriers, and you people are saying that I was on culture differences. So there was a problem of internet. And for that reason, we missed this point. So this was lack of clarity. You people wouldn't get my point, and you were not clear at all, right?
Yes.
So this was, and this is lack of clarity. We were not clear because of distortions. Now we have point the physical barriers. Physical barriers are what? These are the factors such as noise, or lighting, physical distance, and the interference with the communication, making it difficult to hear, see, or connect effectively. The same point. We're having a problem at the moment. So, this is a barrier, physical barrier. I cannot take the class in the school or institute at the moment. That is why we are taking the class on Zoom. So, because of the internet, we are having a problem. So, this is a kind of a physical barrier, right?
Yes.
Okay. Then we have emotional barrier. Now, what it is, let's read. Now, this is a stress, anxiety, defensiveness, which can affect communication by influencing one's ability to express themselves clearly or listen attentively. Sometimes you have listened when you were in your schools or colleges that people are present physically in the class, but mentally they're not in the class. This happens a lot. Maybe you are going through some physical phase in your life. Maybe your scores or your marks were not that good in that specific class, specific subject. So this is an emotional barrier. You should be present in the class, but you're not present mentally. Then we have perceptual differences. What it is? These are the differences in the perception, beliefs, or biases, which may lead to individuals to interpret messages differently, resulting in misunderstandings or conflicts. For example, the biggest conflict of Muslim Ummah is the Shia and Sunni community. You would agree on this. We are having different beliefs. The Sunni people are having different beliefs. Both are having different beliefs. So we always go for perceptual differences. Even in Pakistan, I don't know about the Saudi Arabia. There is a difference of time of opening iftar and sahri. Amna would agree with me. Is it clear to you, Rosanna?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then we
Yes,
have
ma'am.
lack of
Clear.
feedback. Like you people are, mashallah, very attentive. You just answer me way too quickly. Like whatever question I ask from you people or what query you do have, I do answer it. So this is a good feedback. But sometimes in the organization, there is a barrier of the feedback as well. People don't reply on time and promptly. Technological barriers. Maybe the internet is my place is weak. That is why we're not able to conduct the class today at 2 o'clock. So this was a tech barrier. Just because of the net, just because of this technology, we were not able to take it on time. So this is a barrier. So these were the general overview. Now, starting the main lecture, these are the points from your indicative content. The first one is clarity of written oral message. Now, what is the barrier description? That is what it means. This is the heading, basically. In this, the clarity of written or oral message, we are going to have readability, language, and tone. This means ambiguous language, complex vocabulary, and an inappropriate tone can impede the clarity of messages, leading to misunderstandings. Very simple. If your written or oral message is not correct, you have used the jargon language or abbreviations a lot, then what will happen? A layman would not understand what you have written. For example, a general person who don't know what R&D means in business, R&D means research and development. But the business students, they like at the speed of light, they know that what this means. So these are their language codes. Impact on communication, because this is what we are reading now, barriers, and what is the impact on it for the effective communication. Misinterpretation of the messages, confusion, and reduced engagement among the team members. Very simple. When you're not going to understand what the message is, whether it is written, whether it is oral, then you're not going to follow the command properly. There are going to be the risk. Sorry. Then we have mitigation strategies. Mitigation means to eliminate. How we can eliminate these and what are the perfect strategies which we can opt so that the barrier should be eliminated. Use clear and concise language, that is simple language. Tailor the message to the audience comprehension level, that is, whatsoever message you are writing or you're going to speak up to them, you should be very clear to whom you're going to talk. Are you connecting to the youth or are you connecting with the adult? Ensure an appropriate and respectful tone in both written and oral communication. That is, you should be way too formal with it. No formal or L languages should be used at all, the MO languages. Now, these are the examples, okay? For example, in an email, a manager uses jargon and technical terms without providing explanations. This can lead to confusion among the team members who are not familiar with the terminology. This is right, because they don't know now what it means. Then, what is the example for the impact on communication? Team members, this is the example for the above one. Team members may hesitate to seek clarification, resulting in the execution of tasks based on misunderstood instructions. Now, there are many employees which don't feel confident to ask questions from the head or the managers because they think they're going to fire us or they're going to bombard us with more tasks and assignments. So they try to do it by their own self. Sometimes they are able to do it, sometimes they are not. Is this clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then we have technology. Basically, we are having 4 points in this. I think tech, written, and yeah, interpersonal relationship. Let's go with the technology now. What is the barrier description to it? The first one, poor connections. Technical issues such as poor internet connectivity or malfunctioning equipment can disrupt communication flow. I don't think so. You need an explanation for this. We are facing it today, and we did face it in the afternoon as well. Inappropriate use. Over reliance on certain communication channels or using tech for inappropriate types of communication can hinder effectiveness. Like the problem which we are having now in the Zoom. For us, it's a Zoom. Like we have to wait for 10 minutes to start another meeting. But before that, this was not a thing. Why Zoom took this step? I researched on it and I came up with the article in which it said that the Zoom owners they decided to break the time limit for 10 minutes so that the connectivity on the server gets easy. The server gets a little bit of time to feel ease and relax so that we can start with another meeting. So it's a good decision, but for me I didn't like it, and there is no reason or literally no appropriate way to even buy the whole subscription plan because honestly, it's a waste of time. Then we have impact on communication. That is, what is the impact of tech on the communication? Breakdowns in virtual meetings, delayed responses, or the inappropriate use of communication. The same things which we face right now. You were saying me that you were not able to listen me, but I was saying that I was delivering the lecture, but it was because of the technology. Then mitigation strategies for it. Ensure reliable tech infrastructure, providing training on the appropriate use of communication tools, heavy contingency plans for technical issues. If we are facing a lot of problems in the organizations too, then what happened? We do have a backup plan and we have to follow that. In that way, we can mitigate this. For example, these are the examples now. For the poor connection, during a virtual meeting, frequent disruptions and lag in audio lead to participants missing crucial information. This is the perfect example. Again, we did absorb this today. Inappropriate use. Using a casual messaging platform for the formal performance feedback can lead to misunderstandings and discomfort among the team members. That is when you are not using proper apps. For example, you are in a meeting of 100 people and you people are relying on a WhatsApp audio call. It's not an appropriate way. You should go for the Microsoft Teams or the Zoom app at least. Then the example says miscommunication due to technological or technical glitches may result in delayed project timelines. Maybe, for example, um, back in Feb, we were having elections. What happened in the election was we were not having the internet for a longer period of time. There was a blackout too for 2 days. So there was the delay in the classes too and the projects too. Then we have interpersonal relationship. What it means, existing conflicts or strained relationships among the team members, which can create a hostile environment hindering the open communication. Interpersonal relationship, the personal relationships among the members of the organization, employees. Like you are my student, so we do have a relationship, and it's a relationship of the candidate and a teacher. Impact on communication, fear of confrontation, reluctance to the share ideas, and breakdown in collaborative efforts. Sometimes the students are quite shy. They don't feel easy and confident enough to tell their problems to the mentor, to the teachers. And they say that they have understood everything, but at the end of the day, they come to the teachers and say, we didn't understand a word. So, this is the lack of confidence. You should always ask the questions on time or in the next class. This is the perfect thing. Then how we can mitigate it? Encourage conflict resolution mechanism, foster a positive and inclusive organizational culture, providing training on effective interpersonal communication skills. So we have a separate course and topic as well in which we can discuss the interpersonal communication skills. That is how we can talk to our employees, our fellow peer groups, our employees, and the managers, your senior MDs, and so on. Positive working culture, why it is important. When we are going to have a good working culture, then we can easily talk and freely discuss what the problem is or what the solutions we have in the mind. For example, personal conflict. Two team members have unresolved personal issues leading to a lack of collaboration during team meetings. Sometimes we're having grudge inside. So at the team, we don't, like at the meeting, we don't talk even. Although, whenever you are on a formal meeting or you are in a work, you should forget your personal fights and insights, whatever you are having with both of the genders. What you could do is you should only focus on the work rather than doing the rivalry. Then, important information may be withheld, affecting the overall team's performance and project outcomes. Maybe the person A is quite qualified, but due to the rivalry, he is not giving up the idea. So, what will happen? Ultimately, the business is getting the loss. Now, business is facing the loss. Then we have non-verbal communication. In this, the barrier description is misinterpreted body language. Now, what it means? Non-verbal cues such as facial expressions and gestures may be misinterpreted, leading to misunderstanding. Sometimes what happens is we are talking, but we are moving the hands as well. Some in few presentations and in the auditorium, it is liked by the audience and the heads. Otherwise, it is not a good thing to always move up your hands or holding up a pencil or a pen in your hands and doing tick, tick, tick. That is the pen holder. It's not a good thing. What is the impact on communication? Lack of trust, confusion, potential conflicts arising from the misread cues. Why? Because you're not confident enough. That is why you're taking or you're depending on yourself on some things which is inappropriate at the moment. How we can mitigate it? Promote awareness of cultural differences in non-verbal communication. First of all, I'm sure that you people know that what is the difference between verbal and non-verbal. Verbal, in which we have to talk, non-verbal, in which we don't talk, our body speaks up. Our dressing, our style, everything. Uh, Encourage open dialogue to clarify any misinterpretation. That is, if you have any problem, then what you could do is you can always ask questions, or you can ask that after the meeting we can have a small after party, a kind of thing in which we can openly discuss everything. Providing training on effective non-verbal communication, that is, you should train our employees as an organization head, board of directors. We should tell them how, other than the verbal communication, they can speak up through the non-verbal gestures. That is by their hands, their dressing. Like it is very inappropriate to wear heels, stilettos, while delivering the presentations in the class. So it's the ethic. For example, in a video conference, a team member's forward the bro is misinterpreted as disagreement, creating tension. Maybe he has a habit of furrowing his eyebrows. I'm sure you know what is meant by eyebrows, furrowing it. That is making it a little bit upward. It's not a good thing. Maybe it's a habit for you, but while you're in a meeting, and it's even a video conference, it's absolutely not a good thing. Then we have an example for the misinterpretation of non-verbal cues may lead to breakdown in team cohesion and trust. Maybe he wants to say something, but ultimately the gestures were not appropriate. Is it clear to you?
Ma'am, the next point, impact on communication. Your voice is break at the last. Can you repeat that again?
Yeah, sure. Here you go. The misinterpretation of non-verbal cues may lead to breakdown in team cohesion and trust. Maybe the way you were like moving your hands, your feet, they were not appropriate in the meeting. So it's going to be a misinterpretation. Maybe the heads, the board of directors don't like this attitude. What will happen? Maybe they can fire you up. Maybe they won't see you in the next meeting. Conclusion. Identifying and understanding these barriers to effective communication is essential for the organizations to cultivate a transparent and collaborative work environment. Obviously, we have to eliminate, we want to delete these barriers. We want to surpass these obstacles because we want to have a nice, safe, and a clear working environment in which we can grow together. By implementing mitigation strategies and fostering a culture of open communication, organizations can overcome these barriers and enhance the effectiveness of their internal communication process. This is true. If you're going to eliminate these, then what will happen? You are unintentionally clearing up your internal communication process. This proactive approach contributes to improved teamwork, increased productivity, and the overall success of the organization. So now this was the whole assessment criteria 1.3. Now we are going to do the example. In a global technology company, the clarity of written communication became a significant barrier when the team received complex technical documentation filled with jargon and industry specific language. Now, this was the problem. It was a big multinational company, a technology company, but the problem was the team members, obviously, they were not that much literate, they were not in a good position. They received a document in a
Ma'am.
global tech. See, this
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It's a global technology company. This means this is going to be a multinational company and it's a tech company. But why they were having the problem in the documentation, a technical glitch? Because they were not that much literate. The employees, they were not of a higher level. They were not of a higher designation. That is why they were having problem. And the problem was the jargon. That is the keywords which were used by the head of the directors, the board of the directors, and industry specific language. Now, one more thing. Every tech industry has its own language and rules, which they need to follow and which they follow. Okay? So this was the problem. Now let's read the rest of the example. The intricacies of the content led to misunderstandings among the team members from diverse backgrounds. First of all, they were having problem due to the jargon and industry specific language. Secondly, they were of different backgrounds. So this means they were having culture differences. This was the barrier. Recognizing this, the company implemented a strategy to simplify communication by providing glossaries, defining the technical terms, and ensuring that the documentation was accessible to all. That is, for example, you people have the command verb list, right? In the command verbs, you have the words, and with that, you have a whole definition to it. What that specific command verb means. For example, evaluate, analyze. Okay, clear?
Ma'am, I did. Yes, ma'am, but I didn't understand the second point here. You mentioned like intricacies of the content lead to misunderstandings among team members from diverse backgrounds. It's like they're from different backgrounds, and it's written like there's a problem. Like what problem, ma'am? In that
The problem was
you
the
mentioned
culture
one point, something problem, and
culture
in something.
differences.
The second point. I'm sorry. The second example.
In the second point,
That one I know. Yes, yeah.
yeah, the problem was cultural differences. This was the
Okay.
interface. Due to this, they were not able to understand everything. They were not having harmony among the
Mm-hmm.
team. Okay. This initiative not only improved the comprehension, but also fostered a collaborative environment where the individuals demonstrating the practical impact of addressing communication barriers in the workplace. So this was the whole crux of the whole example. They were not enough illiterate. They were on a lower level in the organization and they were given the task which was supposed to do by the managers. The first problem was this, obviously, and definitely what happened. It was a big barrier because they were not able to understand what the documentation was. Maybe they were having a deadline too. So this was the whole scenario that why it is important to eliminate all the barriers of the communication. Is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Now moving towards the last part, that is the merit. Again, the command verb is same, that is analyze. The question is possible legal and ethical issues in relation to the communication of information within an organization. Here they have break the question. Even in your indicative content, I was saying that they have break the legal part into separate. We are having, I think, 3 to 4 points for legal and ethical for the ethical, we are having 3 parts. So I have explained this in the slides too. But the question is asking you, so we're having two aspects for this question. First one is the legal issue, and the second one is the ethical. So we are going to discuss this again and again, and the command verb is same, that is analyze. Okay. In the legal aspect, we are having Freedom of Information Act. This is present in your indicative content. This is not new thing. General Data Protection Regulation. This is again GDPR. Equality legislation. Now, these three come under the legal issues. And we are going to talk about the legal issues of communication of information within an organization, within a company. So let's read what Freedom of Information Act means. This, that is the FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, is a law that gives individuals the right to access information held by the public authorities. That is, person like me and you can go to the government authority, any agency, and ask any information about the company. It promotes transparency and accountability by allowing the individuals to request information from the government agencies, public bodies, and certain organizations. For example, an individual submits a Freedom of Information Act request to a government agency to obtain records related to public spending or government decision making processes. This is the right given to us by the country as a citizen. We can demand to the agency, we can go there and ask them that we want the information for these things. So this is their duty that they have to provide us. Then GDPR, that is the General Data Protection Right Regulation. This means a comprehensive data protection law in the European Union that governs the processing of personal data. That is, our personal data is encrypted, it is saved by the government. So it's a very sensitive thing. It aims to protect individuals' privacy rights and imposes obligations on organizations that collect, process, or store personal data. For example, hospitals, the election committees, they are having our personal information every time, our addresses, our phone numbers, our age, our ID cards, everything is saved with them. But it's a very sensitive information, not a normal man can go and access it. For example, a company must obtain explicit consent from the individuals before collecting their personal information for marketing purposes, and it must ensure the secure handling of personal data to prevent unauthorized access or data breaches. For example, the organization in which you people study, uh, they did ask us that whether we want to show our face or not. So this was the very nice thing by this organization. Sometimes it is a problem, but they like put us in the consent that what do we want, what do we think. Now we'll be doing equality legislation. Equality legislation refers to laws and regulation that promote equality and prohibit discrimination based on protected characteristics such as race, gender, age, disability, religion, or the sexual orientation. These laws aim to ensure the equal opportunities and treatment for all individuals, that is male, female. And now we also welcome the third gender as well in many organizations and countries as well. So they all have the right. They cannot say that women cannot work in any of the condition. Like even in Pakistan, they have introduced the maternity leaves. Before that, we don't used to have that. For example, an employer is prohibited from discriminating against job applicants based on their age, gender, ethnicity during the recruitment process, such as mandated by equality legislation. Because This company was having this act valid. That is why they were not writing in the description that the age should be above 25 to 35. Um, in many government jobs, we do have the age limit. So this is not a good thing if we are using the equality legislation. Now, ethical. In ethical, we are having use of email, whistleblowing, and organizational policies. Use of email. Ethical use of email involves adhering to the principles of professionalism, confidentiality, and respect for privacy when communicating via email. It includes refraining from using email for inappropriate or unauthorized purposes and ensuring the secure transmission of sensitive information. I discussed this earlier as well. Many people don't know the proper way to write an email. There is a proper ethic, there is a proper format which we have to follow. For example, an employee avoids using their work email for the personal correspondence or sharing confidential company information with unauthorized recipients to maintain ethical standards in email communication. That is, if you're an employee of the organization, like I'm an employee of this organization, so they have provided me with their email with my name. So this is the responsibility, right? And I cannot use my personal email, personal names for sending you the emails or sending you any homework or even the Zoom app link. Whistleblowing, what it means. It refers to the act of reporting misconduct, illegal activities, or unethical behavior within an organization to authorities or relevant stakeholders. It serves to expose wrongdoing and promote accountability, transparency, and ethical conduct. You people know in many organizations, they don't have a good environment, safe environment for the women. There are so many casualties and problems which they face. So there is a proper body that is a kind of office in which we can complain if we are using the whistleblowing in it. For example, an employee discovers evidence of fraud or corruption within their company and decides to report it to the appropriate regulatory agency or whistleblower hotline, despite potential risk to the career reputation. Because he was loyal to your organization, that is why many people they don't even think or bother this. Okay, now these are the formal guidelines, rules, or procedures established by an organization to govern the conduct of its employees and operations. These policies outline expectations, responsibilities, standards of behavior to ensure compliance with legal requirements and ethical principles. Just like we have policies, regulations by the schools for us, for the students, we do have the policies for the employees as well. How they have to behave, what is going to be the conduct, when they have to be at the office, and at what time they're going to exit. Everything is written inside that policy letter. For example, a company implements a social media policy that outlines acceptable use of social media platforms by employees, including guidelines for protecting confidential information and representing the organization's professionally online. Sometimes what happens is you cannot, if you're a vlogger and you vlog the daily vlogs, few organization omits them that do not vlog or capture us during the time at you are present in the organization because it's a policy. So they won't be able to show what they're doing at the office. So these are the few policies. And some organization they are quite friendly, they always allow. Now we are going to do this according to what the question was asked by us. That is the merit one, M1. Freedom of Information Act, legal concern. What is the legal concern for the communication? Organization must adhere to the Freedom of Information Act regulations, which grant to the public access to certain information held by public authority. The reason why first I described every term through the definition and example was to have a concept in the back of your mind. We know that what FOIA was. It was the act which every citizen has with themselves. They can go to the government and can ask whatever the decision they are taking. Now, this is the right of the organization. This comes under their act that whether they want their organization to be held public with with the government or not. What is going to be the impact? Inaccurate or withheld information can lead to legal consequences affecting the organizational transparency. Maybe the person who is going to fetch the information from the government, he can harm the organization. Then GDPR. Now, this mandates the protection of individuals' personal data, requiring organizations to obtain consent for data processing and ensure the data security. This was the main reason for the GDPR too. Now, what is going to be the impact on communication of it? Unauthorized disclosure or mishandling of personal data can result in legal penalties and damage an organization's reputation. Now, the other word for the reputation is goodwill. Any person who is a rival of that organization can literally harm the organization reputation very easily if they can access the information, even the sensitive information of the organization from the government, so it can literally make them sink at the ground. Equality legislation. Laws prohibiting discrimination based on the factors like race, gender, or disability must be followed. Like, uh, I came back from Umrah in 2023. Before that, when I went there, they were not having the pathways for the people who are on the wheelchairs. Now they accommodate them as well. So this was a plus thing for the disabled people. What is going to be the impact? Biased or discriminatory communication may lead to legal action, impacting the organization's image and employee relationship. That is, you should not go for the favoritism at all. Be way too neutral with everyone, whether it's a male, female, or anyone. Now, ethical issues. Email communication raises ethical consideration related to privacy, confidentiality, and appropriate use. That is, if you're the person from an organization, then you should use the official email ID rather than going for the personal ones. The impact is going to be unethical use, such as sharing sensitive information without the consent. Can encode trust and lead to breaches of privacy. Sometimes what happens is you people are sharing so many things from your personal email ID, and it accidentally you just add the CC or the email ID of the professional ones as well. So you cannot delete it. It is sent. You cannot unsend it. Whistleblowing. Encouraging employees to report misconduct raises ethical questions regarding loyalty and confidentiality, and the impact is going to be if not managed ethically. Whistleblowing can create a culture of fear, hindering open communication and collaboration. It is very necessary if you're facing any problem, whether it's a school, college, hospital, even your family premises, you should report it, no matter what, whether it's any kind of misconduct. Just go ahead, break the head, whatever you can do, just do it. But please never be quiet. Then we have organizational policies. Now, these must be established clear communication policies that align with ethical standards and respect the employee rights. Now, I do understand the head of directors, the board of directors, the organization, they are investing a lot of money, but this doesn't mean not going to consider the employees' rights. We have to consider them. That what do they think, what rights they do possess. That is why many organizations, they encourage that we should make labor unions. Impact on communication. Ethical breaches in policy enforcement can undermine trust and employee morale, negatively effective communication channels. This is going to be the impact. That is, we can break up the trust as well, right? And if you are going to motivate them, the morale is going to be high from the perspective of employee, from the worker. Navigating the legal and ethical landscape of organizational communication is imperative for maintaining trust, fostering transparency, and ensuring compliance. So we are doing the conclusion part. That is, we're ending our discussion. Organizations must continuously review and update their communication practices to align with legal requirements and ethical standards. This is the best thing which you could do. That is, revise up their policy again and again. Don't stick to one thing. By proactively addressing these issues, organizations can create a communication environment that is not only legally sound but also ethically responsible, contributing to positive organizational culture. That is, when we are going to update everything according to the organization needs and wants and according what the employee wants, then what will happen? We are going to have a balanced equilibrium. When we are going to have it, then everything is going to be smoothly run by the heads, by the workers. Now, I'm going to give you two examples. The first example for this is in 2018, Facebook, this is a real example, by the way. These are a kind of real life scenarios. In 2018, Facebook faced a legal and ethical dilemma decision related to the use of personal data, highlighting the intersection of legal regulations and ethical considerations in organizational communication. This was the problem which was submitted to the Facebook head. Uh, Mark Zuckerberg. The company name under the scrutiny for its involvement in the Cambridge Analytica scandal, where the personal data of millions of Facebook users were harvested without their consent for political profiling. Because they wanted more and more votes, what they did was they extracted the profiles of people from the Facebook and used their names and legal, like literally sensitive information there that they have voted for them, but it was not the case. So what happened till date? We rely on Snapchat and Instagram. People really and rarely use Facebook. The people with like the one which are into some extra activity and some disgusting things, they always approach you from the Facebook. I checked my messenger and Facebook after months, and the requests and the messages request is like I literally wanted to delete those apps. So this is the feedback which we are having right now. This incident raised legal concern under the GDPR. Why I'm giving you this example? Because first, this is the real example. Secondly, we did study the Freedom Act and GDPR. So GDPR was what? It was sensitive information leakage. Now, what happened? This led to in the investigation by regulatory bodies, that is the governmental bodies. Ethically, Facebook's communication practices faced severe criticism for failing to protect user privacy and being transparent about the data usage. Like Snapchat, if you even take a screenshot, the other person easily can know that you have taken a screenshot. So it's such a blessed thing. Nobody can take screenshot of your picture, nor a video, nor your chat. The scandal underscored the importance of organizations aligning their communication practices with both legal requirements such as GDPR and ethical principles to maintain trust and integrity in their interactions with the stakeholders. Last example is about Wells Fargo unauthorized account scandal. Let's read it. In the banking sector, Wells Fargo faced a major legal and ethical crisis related to its communication practices. In 2016, it was revealed that Wells Fargo employees had opened unauthorized accounts for consumers without their knowledge, aiming to meet aggressive sales target. That is, they were not knowing that they were having accounts in their organization, in their bank, but they were registered there because they had the information in the past. This scandal raised legal concerns as the bank faced investigation by regulatory authorities, resulting in substantial fines. Ethically, the organization was criticized for fostering a culture that pressured employees to engage in deceptive practices to meet goals. Now, why they did this? The people of Wells Fargo. The owner, he used to force the employees that they have to meet the deadline. They have to meet the objectives of the organizations and the goals. In this way, under the pressure, because they were not having that much bank accounts at that moment, they were not able to, surpass out the consumers to open up their accounts in their organization. What happened was they started to make fake accounts. The communication breakdown within the organization, where employees were discouraged from reporting unethical behavior, highlighted the importance of aligning communication with both legal compliance and ethical standards to prevent such issues. That's it. Any questions, Amna and Rosanna?
Yes, ma'am. The last one example, you said that they opened the like fake accounts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Read that again. Like, what's the scandal changed by this changing that they opened the fake accounts? After that, what's the crisis they faces because of this?
They did not face a crisis. We did this example because I wanted you to know that what is the part. If you don't motivate the employees, you're not going to take the consent of them, you're going to pressurize them, then they can do the unethical work. That is why we read the ethical and legal issue. This example is for the ethical
Okay.
and legal issue part. Because the head of the
What
Wells
about the
Fargo,
example one, ma'am? I didn't understand. Yeah, I didn't understand the example one. One of the points, like the scandal authorized the importance of organization aligning their organizational practices.
point last
Is
one,
it
ma'am?
like breaking their trust or something? The yes, ma'am. The last one. And yes.
This problem, the whole Facebook issue was
Yeah.
known as a scandal. Okay, a
Yeah.
problem is also known as a
Yeah.
scandal. So why
Okay.
it depicted, like it told us that how important is organization
Hmm.
goals with the communication is. If we are going to train our employees for the aspect of communication, communication laws are also important now. Then we're not going to face the problem. Like the Facebook people, the one which were wanted to grasp the votes, they literally hacked the accounts of people. Thousands and lakhs of accounts were hacked and they were misused. Till now, if you have seen that
Uh,
many accounts get hacked, even WhatsApp accounts got hacked, it's very easy.
yes,
That is why WhatsApp
yeah.
has encrypted.
Even recently, Facebook has issues as well.
Yeah,
Like
Facebook
we
is
have to
very
wait for an
unsafe.
hour. Yeah, like you can say like Meta, like we face a lot of problems. I remember like I think it was like March month or something. I don't remember.
Hmm.
Whole day Meta was quite out of service.
Because they have
And I heard like they said they face a huge loss. I heard like
yeah,
that, yeah.
there was a problem under the sea. They were not able to
It
connect
was
the
like
cable.
yeah.
So the internet is important at the end. They were not having enough server. The server was down. Actually, the word
Yeah,
correct term is
completely. Yeah.
server was down. Because
Yeah.
recently, Meta has taken the Facebook, Instagram, the WhatsApp, everything is under them. That is why they are doing new and new techniques upon them, and we people, we do are under the weather for it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
done with this part, and that's it. Any question other than this? This is unit number 4, and again, this is known as communication skills for business. These are the LOs and these are the assessment criteria as following. We are having, I think, 5, yeah, 5 learning outcome for this subject and the following assessment criteria. What this course is going to be about, just let's read it. This unit aims to develop knowledge and understanding of the communication practices within an organization, and learners are introduced to the different modes and channels of communication used in organization. This is what we are reading till now. In addition, learners will be able to develop their communication skills. Learner will also apply their own communication skills to typical organization requirements. Now, in this course, I'm going to have your personal um, viva kind of things and presentations in which I will be depicting what are your communication skills. It is going to be one-on-one. Okay? So even the assignments, they're based on the presentation skills. So I will judge you on those aspects.
Okay.
Right under the LOs, we are having the indicative content again. Today we did the merit part and the barriers part. Now can you see it? We did read this today, the legal and ethical part.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
so everything
Yes,
is
ma'am.
according to it.
Mm.
Even the barriers, I added the extra barriers for you people, but these were also in your slides. Exactly according to what they have told us. Okay,
Yes.
this is your assignment for this course. Again, we are going to have a scenario, and this is an email example. Now we have task 1, and so this is the assignment, preface for it. And right underneath, we are only having 3, first of all, task of it. And we are having this report, which we are going to read. This is because the assignment is based on a scenario based. It is for the SST holdings. That is why the answers, the questions are according to these report and whatever data they have provided us. So we will do read these as well. And this is the suggested evidence. Suggested evidence helps us to write the answer correctly with the help of command verb. Okay, like if you can see today in AC 1.3, we did read the barriers to effective communication. But according to the scenario and the assignment, we have to write the answers according to the SHT holdings. That is true. Whatever the question they have asked us, it's according to the scenario based, and we are going to write the answers accordingly. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's it. Thank you so much, Amna and Rosanna, for joining
Yeah.
in.
So
Thank you.
tomorrow, inshallah, 7:30.
Yes, inshallah.
You
7:30.
too, ma'am.
You
Yeah.
too, ma'am. Thank
No
Take care.
problem. Take care, both of you.
Inshallah.
Allah
Inshallah,
Hafiz.
7:30.